This is the
welcome to the third hour of Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room. This is Thursday, the 12th day of September 2024. Shortly, we are getting into our Justice Thursday conversation. But before then, let's talk about lifestyle. Loop, it's not an app. It's a lifestyle. And we've talked about this in your city.
Actually, we have. And you see, when you mention the word lifestyle, one wonders, okay, I already have a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So why introduce me to a new lifestyle?
Yeah.
No, it's not new. We're adding to your lifestyle. And the understanding is that we are trying to make it better.
Yes.
Yes.
What they say, by the way, and even Edna can show this on the screen, turn your I wish to I have, right? Best deals and discounts with Loop. Or you can get restaurants and clothing. You can get crazy deals, Loop and Pizza Inn, restaurants and all. This is something basically that is, they say that you download the app. Yeah, you'll go into App Store or Play Store and download what is an app. But when you start using this, you will realize this is not just an app. This is not a banking app. It's a lifestyle because it brings you access to very many things. If you are on this Loop, and you're running a business, you can get an overdraft of up to 100,000 shillings. You can access loans. You can post your business and link with other people who are on the Loop app. That means that you can also market your business. What does it do for you as a small trader? You're a kinyozi. You sell cakes. You're in confectionaries. You are doing whatever kind of business, SME, and you are on the Loop app. You're basically getting access into a wide new market. And those that are in the app and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I need to buy, I have to go for a wedding this week and I need to get, some new attire. You just go into the app and you find who is actually in fashion and design. And you start viewing and engaging with them. That helps you. So it's not just about an app that helps you get into your bank account and withdraw money or allows you to deposit money into your bank account. That's what the other bank apps do. This one is your lifestyle.
It's called that much more.
It's that much more.
Yes.
That's it saying, you want to turn your I wish to I have. I wish I could now. I have done it. Courtesy of Loop. That's a good thing, isn't it?
It's a wonderful thing. Yes.
Yeah. Our guest for the next conversation, which is a Justice Thursday conversation, is the Honorable Justice Kebira Ocharo, who is a judge of the Employment and Labor Relations Court. Judge, good morning.
Good morning, Latif.
Good to have you back in the Situation Room. That's a hot seat of the Situation Room.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be hosted again in this station.
It's been a while, a couple of months since we last had you
I was
here.
here last year, 20th July.
Yeah.
Yes, when we had a very interesting conversation.
Karibu tena sana.
Thank you.
Tena sana. City is going to welcome you with the day's proverb, and then I'll tell you about a new deal by Safaricom. Say, you know what? People are wondering, how much data do I have? How many minutes can I get? How can I call? I'll tell you shortly. City, where are our proverbs this week coming from?
Our proverbs are from the Federal Republic of
Somalia.
Federal Republic.
I always ask myself, why do we call this region the Horn of Africa when the Horn is Somalia?
Well, it's representative. Yes. It's when, for instance, someone tells you oceanic countries, it's representative, meaning they are countries that are domiciled in a certain water body that has a certain name.
I know.
Yes.
But on the map of Africa,
yes,
the Horn is in one country.
It is one country.
Why do we, for example, call ourselves Kenya as part of the Horn of Africa?
All right.
We are not.
It is for the same reason we say we are East Africans, because we are in the East.
We're in the East.
It's not one country that is in the East. That horn is that little curve that is part of Somalia that gives it that particular terminology. It's a unique terminology, but we have to share it because they are in the East African region.
Why should Uganda, for example, be called Horn of Africa?
Well, that is a really valid question. I just hope you don't expect me to give you an answer. Yes.
Sawa. I'll stop ranting.
Sawa. I like this country.
Yeah.
The things about it, the things that you read about it, what happened, and how far they were before one small incident. First president gets shot. A few days after they were shot, you have a coup. And that country went belly up.
Bas.
Anyway, that I will talk about tomorrow. Get to know me before you reject me.
Get to know me before you reject me.
Yes.
Judge, what's your interpretation of this proverb?
I think it's an equivalent of, don't judge me by the superficial look, or like don't judge the book by its cover. Isn't it? You must take time to know somebody before you make conclusions. You should not be having predetermined conclusions on somebody or on an aspect.
Don't be quick to judge. Don't jump into conclusions.
Oh, sure.
Spend some time, interrogate the matter before you decide that this is right or wrong, or this is the way these things are going.
Sure, put it in another way.
No, you put it well.
You put it very well. You did put it very well. So, Judge, your court has been in existence for a number of years now, the Employment and Labor Relations Court. And of course, we must say that it has transformed labor relations in this country in the way that matters are now adjudicated, because there's a clear place where such cases are adjudicated, starting from whether it's unions or individual workers and all. But then there's the other side of workers' welfare, which people expect that the workers' welfare will be dealt with by law, will be dealt with by unions, will be dealt with by individuals. And the question is, what role does the court play in ensuring that there is workers' welfare is taken care of? A world of work free from violence and harassment, including sexual and gender-based violence. What's the role of the court?
I think the courts play a pivotal role in ensuring that we have a workplace that is free from, violence, harassment, and sexual harassment, inclusive, and also gender-based violence. In situations where a case has been presented, for the court to interrogate whether there has been, harassment and violence at the place of work as against an individual worker or workers in general, then the court has to, render itself on that matter by applying the laws that we have present in Kenya, and also even international standards are set out in various conventions like ILO conventions. Yes. And a court being an impartial actor then has to, interrogate fairly the circumstances of each case and discern and conclude whether or not there was violence, sexual harassment in general as against the employer or the employee. And if convinced that that happened, then it gives appropriate remedies depending on, the magnitude of the harassment and violence.
Are there definite definitions, Judge, of
Yes.
some of these terminologies? Harassment at work. What constitutes harassment?
I must say that most of the statutory provisions that we have in Kenya do not specifically and explicitly define violence and harassment at the workplace. But notwithstanding that, it cannot be said that we don't have a place where we fall back to see what the definition is. And in mind, I have those international standards. And one that comes to my mind immediately is Convention number 190, which is elimination of violence and harassment at the world of work, which defines harassment and violence in a very broad way, in this manner, that it is, an acceptable behavior, practice, or threat that is aimed or that is likely to cause psychological, physical, sexual, and even economic harm to an employee. So, it's not what constitutes violence and harassment. It's not really an exhaustive. There's no exhaustive catalog.
So it's contextual.
For that. Yeah, it is contextual. It is dependent on the circumstances of each case. So really, it has to depend on the facts of the case as the judge perceives it.
Go ahead, Eddie. No, there's section 238, which criminalizes what you call intimidation. Okay? Then there are section 223, 229, and 344 that criminalize making threats. So, you're right, Judge. There's the implication. If you threaten someone, if you intimidate them, it is clear. So when you talk about harassment, now the Sexual Offences Act, the 2006, now clearly lays it out and tells you this is it, and this is where you see it, and this is how exactly it plays out. The problem usually, from what I have read, this is the beauty of not being a lawyer, you can speak freely and make as many mistakes as you like in the process, is when evidence is required.
Yeah.
Then it gets tricky.
Because you see, the Sexual Offences Act, for example, goes into a bit of a greater detail in trying to define what a sexual offense is.
Yes.
Right? But this other one, threat at work, if I tell you if you don't perform, I'm going to fire you, is that a threat? So or is that a statement of fact? Fanya kazi ama uende nyumbani.
Yes.
Yeah, is it, that statement of yours, what is it geared to achieve?
Better productivity.
If it's geared to achieve better productivity and not psychological, effect.
Or psychological harm, no.
Harm.
Okay.
Or, physical harm. Or, to cause somebody to submit to a sexual activity, then it's not inappropriate.
But then, Judge, my intention as the boss, as a supervisor, is to get better productivity from my employees, from my team. They come in the morning and I tell them, you guys are lazy. I mean, what time are you reporting to work, for example? You guys are not thinking beyond outside the box. You have to be better thinkers. What kind of nonsense is it represented? This report is crap. Now, one of the members of staff feels in their interpretation that they've been psychologically hurt by that. Is that my problem or is that theirs? Sounds like their problem.
Worse still, if you actually write them a letter, state the same thing, they'll say this is cyber harassment.
That's their interpretation, not my intention.
And that's why I said that the interpretation of what violence and harassment is depends on the peculiar circumstances of each case. For instance, if a worker has done some report today, pursuant to your instructions, I suppose. Then when she brings this, you say this is trash and you shred.
What kind of nonsense
the
is
report.
This?
Same thing happens severally.
They are not improving.
They are not improving.
In my opinion.
But is that the way you are supposed to deal with it as the employer, as the boss. Do you care about the psychological effect of such a conduct on the employer? Oh, sorry, the employee.
I do.
As
Also
an em-
caring about the psychological
As an
effect.
employer, I've given you a job, okay?
Yes.
I pay you a salary, okay? I make sure that the safety measures that are required by the work that we do are met. Now, I even give you health insurance. I give you leave when you require it. You are supposed to report to work at 8 sharp, and you continuously come to work at 8:30 or 8:45. Surely. If I call you an XYZ, surely, am I harassing you or am I just describing you?
I thought in a decent workplace, there are mechanisms of addressing employee infractions.
Yes.
And I don't think that can include abuses or, making statements that are belittling on the employee.
Mheshimiwa, I've always found this interesting. I've been admiring that tie. I don't wear ties myself, but I've been admiring that tie and how it combines that suit. And if I tell you, Mheshimiwa, you are very well dressed, what would your response be?
I'll say thank you.
Exactly. And if I say you are shabbily dressed,
I'll say I'll improve tomorrow.
precisely. Now, there are people who take that as harassment.
No, I think we need to not disassociate the act complained about and the intended outcome or the likely outcome.
If,
Yes.
Mheshimiwa, Judge, if someone is given to interpreting everything that they are told and which they do not like as being either an insult or either a harassment or an infringement on their personal space and their personal right, you, as an employer, have to wonder, why don't you just go and employ yourself? Because it's just, so long as you're in a workplace and certain demands are made, I'm going to have to ask you to meet those demands. Otherwise, leave and go.
The thing is, you have to make those demands. Of course, you have a right to so do, but in a decent manner. In a manner that is not unbecoming. In a manner that is not going to have the feared effects of, psychological harm, physical harm, and even enticing people to sexual activities. And for sure, harassment, violence is real.
Yes.
And
It
it's
is.
a global, thing. And it's high time we became real about it.
It is, Judge. And I mean, there's no disputing that there are very many instances of sexual harassment in the workplace, right? Of emotional harassment in the workplace, of bullying by co-workers, by supervisors in the workplace. It happens, right? But then also there's the other side of interpretation by either colleagues or if a boss, for example, you have been having a good relationship with your employee, and then today she's female and you're male, and she's dressed well, and you say, "Hey, I like that dress." The way you've said it brings out the best in you. She feels sexually harassed. Now, such a case then comes to you. What are you going to consider? Are you going to consider the tone I used? Where were we? I mean, I see an opportunity, an instance here where judges are basically just made to deal with so many different instances where a judge is wondering, okay, so did this one really have to get to me? Is that not true?
Oh, sure. And that's why I said, if you remember, that each case should be dealt with in its peculiar circumstances. For instance, if you make that comment, like the one you have mentioned today,
Yeah.
and you realize that this lady is uncomfortable with such statements,
Yeah.
then tomorrow you
Repeat.
repeat. Then tomorrow you repeat. And a week after, you repeat. And yet you are very clear that this lady is uncomfortable.
Or maybe she doesn't express it. Maybe I am assuming that, she did not respond. She just took the compliment and went with it. She didn't say, "Oh, thank you very much. You wait for tomorrow." She didn't just sat down and continue
I
the meeting.
think as an adult boss and reasonable boss, Lily, if there's silence after your statement, then you have to ask yourself so many questions.
That's where the cultural norms come in.
Yeah.
And how people react given the cultural backgrounds. But even more importantly, when it comes to the issues of how to deal with it, comes the matter of stigma. If you report it, what then happens? Because usually, we've seen many and read about many cases in our country where victim blaming, the person who has the complaint now becomes the focus.
Yep.
Why did you wear this? Why did you
Kwani
walk in this manner?
I mean,
Oh, sure, it happens. It happens. And that's why when we look at the Convention 190, it speaks to what member states that have ratified the convention should put in place. One of them being, how do you deal with the victims? How do you ensure confidentiality of, the process, reporting, handling of the grievance? After the outcome, how do you deal with the victim? There must be a policy at the place of work, a national policy addressing all these issues, and even an elaborate law dealing with violence, harassment, and including gender-based violence at the place of work.
Judge, I want us to go to a break. Remember, I told you, I'll tell you about how easy it is now, if you're running a business or whoever, to have one bundle that sorts out your everything when it comes to calls. This is called a Go Monthly all-in-one plan. You get 17 GB of data, 1,000 minutes, 2,000 SMS, and free WhatsApp. All you do is pay 2,000 shillings a month. It's called the all-in-one bundle by Safaricom, right? Imagine 2,000 bob, 1,000 minutes of talk time, 1,000 minutes in a month. You talk for 1,000 minutes on the phone. 2,000 SMSs. Will you send 2,000 SMSs? But 17 GB of data is a lot. And free WhatsApp, knowing that people nowadays are communicating a lot on WhatsApp, that's a lot. If you're running a small business, let's say you're posting your content on social media as you're marketing, and you're telling people you can reach me on WhatsApp. So you have 17 GB of data to post all your content and interact with your audience. And you also have free WhatsApp. And if you need to call, you can call 1,000 minutes. If you need to SMS, you have 2,000 SMSs, 2,000 bob, 2,000 shillings only. How do you subscribe to this? Go to your phone, dial *544#. That's *544#. And then from there, you go to the your monthly, choose the Go Monthly, and then you select that one. That's it. *544#, Go Monthly, select it. Or if you have your Safaricom app, use it. Just go to my Safaricom app and check where you get it. It's as simple as that. We are taking a break. Our Justice Thursday conversation today is looking at what it will take for us to have a world of work that's free from violence and harassment, including sexual and gender-based violence. Our guest is the Honorable Justice Kebira Ocharo, Judge of the Employment and Labor Relations Court. We'll be back shortly. Keep it here.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside. Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
All right.
Oh, okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No.
Since I'm not shipping out.
You're my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the sheep in the bathtub? Or
Or the sheep man.
Emmanuel Talabu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they've been told to write composition about a sheep. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about the sheep or a sheep goat?
The Situation